Hey, what's up, guys? Thanks for coming in again to this great episode of Landscaping to the Point with our hosts, JC, Josh, and me. Hey, guys. So, we got some really great topics again. Hopefully, these guys will go on this one. But this one, first one, I hope will stump them and make them kind of think and make you guys out there think too. So, last night, this one popped in my head last night. Me and my wife were watching a show. It's a newer show out there. So, maybe people that haven't heard it, but so this show had a influencer on it that technically died, and at their funeral they only had people that were followers, not friends. So on that aspect, with your guys' followers, how many followers do you think would actually be at your thing, be there for you if you actually needed something? Because we've gone to shows where supposedly you have all these followers, but not many people show up. So it kind of makes me wonder, like, really, are these actual followers, or are they bots, or are they actually people that actually care about you and actually want to hear you talk, hear you speak, be there for you? So, what do you guys think? Oh, see, I got you
What show
stumping
was that?
already.
What show was that? What was
It's called Dead to Me. Not dead yet. So it's about I think it's on ABC. It's a show where the lady writes obituaries, and these people show up dead to her as a ghost, and she, writes the obituary about them. So it was kind of a really thought process of, like, she had like 4 million followers, and only like she had this memorial, and there was only like maybe 30 people, and nobody cared to speak about her. Didn't really know her exactly deeply. See what I'm saying? So it's like no friends really. To me, I feel like a follower, if you're a follower, I mean, I don't try to follow people that I don't listen to. And I feel like that's you should be able to engage with them. And if you got 4 million followers, are you actually knowing exactly every person that's following you? I mean, I know Josh has got like 17 million followers. So I mean, what do you think, Josh?
Okay, I'm on the bottom of the totem pole. I've only been active on social media for like 2 years, but how many would show up? Probably like 0.5%, and most of those would be people that live in Massachusetts or that I know. I don't really see anybody flying out here to see me off. And an example would be my best friend passed away last May, and he was the type of kid where everybody in the area was a best friend with him, and like a quarter of those people showed up and they knew him. So I mean, I'd imagine my Facebook and my Instagram feed would be rest in peace, blah 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 blah. But other than that, I mean, it's a fake world. You know what I mean? It's a fake
Right.
world. You're only as good as the entertainment you provide while you provide.
Right. So that kind of goes on our influencer thing. So as an influencer, do you really feel that you're going to get your word out to people?
Yeah, I don't know, man. I think I think even in real life, people that you think would come to your funeral don't even show up too. So like it's not, and sometimes it's not for negative reasons, but I think if the availability was there, I'm trying to think like if I would go to someone's funeral that maybe I just followed, but that was close by, depending on how much interaction I've had with that person, I think. But when it comes to like followers I have on my biggest thing is Instagram, and I have about 2,800 followers or something like that. Um, Most of them I follow back, and I can't say that I've spoken to every single one of them because that'd be a complete lie. But there is like a good 40, 50 people that on any given day I'll get a message from, and we kind of correspond back and forth. But they're from all over the country, so I don't know.
Mr.
I
Popular.
would not.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, he's got a lot more followers than both of us combined. So
it's I don't know. Like I try to interact with the most people I can online, and as far
All
as
the people from the strip club, right?
yeah, where'd
yeah.
Sorry, I have to cut you off and just fucking ride you a little bit.
I don't know, man. It's kind of a weird topic to talk about. I mean, the show is a weird show, that kind of weird, but I don't know. It puts it in perspective, I guess. Yeah. I don't know. If somebody that I followed was close by and I interacted with a few, I had the opportunity to go to their funeral, I'd try to make it.
See, with me, like even people that I can interact with in person, um uh, just the upbringing, like funerals are personal to me. So like I might show up to I might show up to a wake. I might send flowers to someone if I'm not close to them. I'm not going to go, because to me that's more intimate, where that's like the close family. A colleague of mine, his father passed away. I stopped in the wake for like 2 minutes, but the funeral, that should just be family and really, really close friends. But yeah, I mean, I don't. I mean, maybe like Jensen said, like if funds were disposable, and I could fly around the country whenever I wanted, and it was someone close that I deal with, like a lot of you guys that are in that group are a part of. Yeah, but I mean, plane tickets cost a lot of money. You know what I mean? A letter and a delivery of flowers to the mother or the wife, a husband, or whatnot is just as easy.
Mm.
Nice.
Yeah.
Plus, I don't like fucking influencers either. So
We know that. I mean, I mean, I feel like I don't feel like I'm an influencer, and I know you guys are the same way. I don't try to push my stuff that I might not use onto people, and I don't feel like anybody should. And if you're following them, try to make sure that they're actually if you're going to get a discount code because they promote this product, do they actually use it? That's the more you need to know that. I mean, I'm not going to promote something that I don't use, and that's the way I've always felt, from the get go. So,
and I like that, and Scott, that's why I think you're somewhat genuine, because I don't see you being, a product whore. And what I mean by product whore is like 1 week you're advertising Milwaukee, and then DeWalt sends you something, you're advertising the same thing. To me, that's like, there's no loyalty to that. So how am I going to believe you that you're actually using these long term, and you actually feel for them? I mean, the two of you, when JC, I don't think you've been as active on YouTube anymore, but like Scott, with some of your stuff on Instagram, I consider you guys vloggers more than influencers, and I love watching that because it's the day-to-day of what you do. And I learned something off that whoever I'm watching the vlogs, because it's like, oh, he does it that way. Like, that's kind of a good routine to get into. Or, you know what I mean? I saw Scott shop, and I'm like, when I actually get a structure, I'm like, I like the setup that he has over there, because he has different stations of what to do. So I like watching that to kind of get the ideas of like, here's a vision. Oh wait, I can switch it because that works better from him. And I see the process he's doing. So
right.
As an influencer is just telling you what you want to hit. They're going for viewerships. And I know people will say, no, that's not true. But a lot of the big names we watch, especially in this industry, it's about views. It's about, I think Bedell, when we met up in Chicago, said it right, where it's like, it's the flashiness. It's the show. When you go to Vegas or something and you go to a show, you're not going for the talent. You're going for the lights, the noise, like what's going on there. So same idea.
Right. Oh, I agree with you. I mean, I feel like, a lot of times people just want that person as an influencer because they have all the views. And I feel like half the time, there's tons of bots. I mean, I could go through my Instagram right now, and I bet you probably 300 of them are bots that.
Yeah, same here. Yeah.
Me, and yeah, they can go ahead and follow me. I'm not, promoting anything. So it's not like I'm, pushing a product to say, hey, this is the greatest product ever because it's a gold blade. I'm pushing that, I'm pushing, you can see what I use, and it's like, even with our reviews and, our group that we have, Echo Means Business, I'm only pushing what I, like. They can send me a piece of equipment or something and test it. And if I don't like it, I'm not going to make a review on it. I'm not going to put something down that I don't like unless it's really made a big impact on me to where it's, made me, hate the product. And I'm not going to say that to somebody and say, hey, if they want to say, hey, what about this product? It's all right. I'm not going to say, hey, don't buy it because I say so. There's many people that use that product. Don't go fully on one person because they're influencing it.
Yeah. Yep. And like when going back to like the flashy lights and stuff, when it comes to those reviews, it takes too long to get to the point. So I'd rather kind of just a bland, right to the point video of like, here's the product they use, here's why I like it, here's an action, rather than the whole like it drive. Like, I mean, JC knows, like when he was working in that adult club and he was doing that. Yeah, he had the lights going, the helicopter going on, swinging around, the LA's going nuts.
I was making my own music. I was doing my own moves.
like going off with it with that little washcloth in front of him. He was fine, you know. And he's not that great of a dancer, but it's because of the lights. He was tearing it up. And I'm sure 2,800 followers, probably 1,000 of those are the old ladies, like, oh.
Yeah. Yeah.
I can't move like I used to before.
Just got to be able to do the helicopter. That's all.
Yeah, there's a certain time when you got to we got to call it quits because the new next up and coming is
yeah. The younger guys get you beat your knees and giving up.
Yeah.
So what
I don't
do
know
you feel about these influencers, JC?
I don't know, man. When I first started, it was just posting pictures and little projects that I was doing, and it was all like just the home owner stuff. And then as it kind of grew, I initially thought that I wanted to be that person that started making the videos and vlogging and doing the product reviews. And that started, not that I got outreach from a lot of different companies, but like every now and then I'd have a company contact me and want to send me some stuff. And even just like the maybe 2 or 3 companies kind of sending stuff out to you, I felt overwhelmed. I'm like, I felt like it was a commitment for me to actually have to put some type of content out for them just because they sent me something. And I realized that that's not exactly what I wanted to do. But like you're saying, Scott, like or Josh, I think sticking to 1 or 2 companies that you actually really, really enjoy, and for me, that was Echo and Turf Care Supply, because I use those products, and I don't want to go out and say like, I dabbled and tried with like, for example, Sunday Lawn Care. I mean, that was kind of like catered for homeowners, and it wasn't something that I really would have used myself. I've tried it, but it's not something that I really wanted to sell, and I didn't want to be a salesman. And I did it, but then afterwards I'm like, you know what? I don't know. I just didn't feel right about it. I don't want to feel like I'm pushing this product out there. Plus these companies, some of these companies just want to use you just to get your fan base so that they could get their product out there. It's what it's all about. I mean, they're not losing any money sending you something, a kit, whatever, and then they're getting exposure from every end. I mean, they're smart. They're going to invest in somebody that maybe has a few followings and try to get them to push their product out there. But at what point do you become a content creator? At what point do you become an employee for that company? And I didn't want to be that. I didn't want to be working 5, 6, 7 jobs, per se, with these companies. I like my products. I like the ones that I use, Turf Care Supply, Echo, and I think that's where I'm going to keep it. I don't think I want to kind of reach out anywhere else.
To piggyback off that, so I've never really gotten anything like you guys have gotten. Like, I don't have companies reach out to me like the whole Echo Means Business thing. Like, I applied for that and I've been off that for a while. I did Jobber, but I just couldn't keep up with the content creation to be an ambassador for them, so I got kicked off that. But have you guys ever felt like, I feel like with influence too, have you ever felt the need where you get multiple pieces of equipment or goods to like give them a good review even when you don't really like the product or don't think it's really up to par?
Yeah, I mean, I've seen it. I've had them a couple places send me stuff, and if I don't, like I said, if I don't like it, I'm not going to make a review on it. And I've actually been reached out by a couple other companies lately, and because they like my content, they like what we're doing here, they like what I'm doing on all my socials. But I told them, I'll take your product, I'll review it, I might show it on a thing, but if I don't like it, you're not going to see the review. Nobody's going to see the review. You might see the product here and there, because I'll still use that product, till it's gone. If you send me, fertilizer and I don't like the fertilizer, I might use it on a product, but I'm not going to, give you that review that you want. So, I mean, a lot of them, have said, no, well, we're not going to, send it your way. And I've had one say, we'll still send it your way and let you see how it works, and if nothing else, hopefully you'll buy from us and, give us a good review on it. So I feel like you have to be true to what you're going to use. Everybody that I kind of support, through Echo, I've used Echo since literally I started in the business. So, I will continue to use Echo. I feel like I've gone through and used other products. Yeah, some things are good, some things are not, but Echo, stands by their word. I like their product. I like using their product. So that's definitely one that I'll stick with, and there's other ones, like Cujo and all them other things that I will stick with, Jobber and all that, but I don't see them, sending me out because I don't have that following, like, that a lot of these other places do. So it's not like they're like, hey, take this and make a video about it. So
I think when you're new, and you're starting to post stuff, and then you're starting to get that recognition from some companies, and you get sent something, like there's initial pressure for you to think like, oh man, like I want this to continue. I want these companies to send me out. And then, you know, it's like you feel I have to, like you said, feel like you have to give them a good review, because it's like you're thankful for the fact that they actually looked at you and sent you something. But at the same time too, like I've had, not that I've had a lot of companies, but I had some companies communicate with me and say, hey, we're going to send you this. Don't feel obligated to make content about it. Just use it. And then if you want to make content, fine. If not, just, you know, let us know what you think of it. And they just wanted your opinion or my opinion. And I respect those companies a little more, as opposed to like, hey, put our stuff out there and make a video on it, and, you know, send us a video. And, you know, I think that'd be better. Plus the fact that, you know, you don't feel committed to having to like, just kind of, I don't know, just make content for them and not be truthful and not be genuine with it, you know?
Yeah, I agree with you. I mean, I definitely agree with that. I mean, I feel like if you're going to use product, and, you know, it's a lot of times it doesn't come down to using it just, you know, one time. You know, I feel sometimes you have to have that product and use it for a while before you can even know how you actually, it works. You know, I don't feel like when I get certain products in from Echo, I don't feel like, you know, I'm going to be able to make that review and like right out of the box and using it the first day or first week. To me, I feel like I have to have that product for a good 6 months before I can actually say, this is how it works. This is
Absolutely,
how
absolutely,
it feels.
absolutely.
You know,
And there's too much of that.
right.
Not
And,
enough of that. Yeah.
right. You know, and I see all these other influencers where they, oh, look, I got this mower. This is the best mower ever. Have you used it? You know, have you gone out and cut that grass, you know, for 8 hours a day for 5 days a week, you know, for 6 months, and then give me that review. Don't just say right off the bat, you know, go buy this mower because this is the brand new thing that, you know, is out on the market. I feel like, hey, I'll check it out, but I'm not gonna go for it, you know.
Scotty, I have a perfect example with that, and I think you and I are on the same page. We both have the 9010 and the 8010. And
Right.
when the 8010 first came out, it was the world's strongest blower, whatever, and it's an awesome machine. Then the 9010 came out, and you know, people started, obviously, because it's at that time it was the strongest blower out there. My go-to blower is the 8010. I don't like the tube on the 9010. Not to say I don't like the blower, because the blower is amazing and it's still a great, great, great blower. But if I had a choice to kind of, whenever I grab my blower, the first one I grab is the 8010. I like the tube. I think the 9010 arm keeps my elbow out too much. I got small elbows, small arms, so I'm kind of weak, so I can't bring that tube back in. But it's just more comfortable for me, and it does the job.
Right.
And I absolutely love it. And I know they discontinued it for the newer model, but I wish that that tube was still the same. I really love that machine. But same thing, like that I learned that after using that equipment, you know, a couple seasons, you know,
Right.
and that's, you know, if anybody were asking me, I say, yeah, if you had a choice to buy an 8010, 9010, I would recommend the 8010.
Right. Right. I mean, I feel like, you know, I have actually the 580, the 770, the 8010, the 9010. I feel like each one has its purpose. You know, and it depends on where you're at, what kind of product you're doing. If you're doing full fall cleanups and there's heavy leaves, I love the 9010. Don't get me wrong, you know, but if it's a job that it doesn't have that many leaves, I'll take the 770 or the 580 before I will, you know, the bigger ones. And, you know, it's like if you follow me around and on my truck, I have literally the 770, the 8010, the 9010, and it's like it depends on what day it is. If it's heavy, wet, okay, I'll bring that 9010 out, blow them the sidewalks off, you know, in the driveways. But if it's not, I'll take the lighter, the blower, the 770, does the same job. It'll clean it out just as perfect, and you're not hurting your back more. You're not, you know, straining anything. You're still getting this job done the right way. So it all comes down to every product has its niche, you know, and it has its best ways of using it, I feel. So,
Hey,
Josh.
yeah, Josh.
Yeah,
What'd
what's
you do
your
last night,
two on
man?
this?
Well, I mean, you guys know how I am. Like I don't hold back, and obviously there's a filter issue with me. And again, I don't get sent a lot of stuff from different companies. So You know, and just so everybody knows, there's no sponsorship on this segment. Like we keep dropping Echo, but I think that's how we all connected, was through the Echo Means Business Program.
Yeah.
I've received a lot through them. And I make sure that I'm fair with the reviews. And how I'm fair with the reviews in the past has been I post them on my IG so that they don't have a way, not that they would, but they don't have a way to manipulate or edit the review. You know, I was given the electric lawnmower they had. And I was a little shocked because throughout the industry, there was a lot of talk about how good that mower was. And my review was that it was trash. And it literally went into my dumpster. On a commercial side for me, it was horrible. I have a hard time with tool reviews if you don't have negative comments towards anything, you know, and the same thing with the blowers. Like I liked the 8010, and I agree with the tubing that Jensen mentioned. I have both of those. I don't like them. I am a Red Max guy. I like the weight of the Red Max. I think there's more power in the 8010, but I'm still stuck in the middle. If I ran a full cleanup crew like I used to, and I had to run 5 or 6 blowers, I might have a mix, because just like you said, Scott, every blower has its purpose, like every grade of blower. You know, I'd rather go through bushes against the house with the 8010, just because it's a little more easier to maneuver and it's lighter. The 9010 is real bulky. So like when we've tried that, you know, we're getting pulled back by the bushes, and it's a pain in the ass. So that's just kind of where I stand on that.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I agree with you. I mean, you have to have, you know, it's just that, you know, I've gone through many years, and I'll tell you that I've tested mowers out because, you know, it might be cheaper or whatever. It's like you have to find your actual product. And I feel like the people that actually stick to what products do good for them and promote that are better influencers or ambassadors or whatever you want to call them to listen to, because they know what they're doing. They use that product on a nonstop basis. They're actually saying that this is their product. You know, I've used Gravely for years. I've used Ethco for years. I enjoy what I use. Not, you know, going and trying different stuff, it's not always good for me, you know, unless I can test it out for a long time, and then maybe I can tell you yes or no, you know.
Hey, off subject, what'd you guys do last night?
I watch movies and TV shows with my wife. So
Is that where that topic came from?
yeah. It's just one of the topics on one of the shows, and you know, I just my wife's kind of thinking I'm overcompensating because we went out and got a bigger TV, and so
What'd you get?
you know, so you know, that's she just, you know, I can see better in our newer house, because we have a bigger living room, so it's a lot bigger TV, so now I can definitely see from way back in my living room. So, you know, but you know, that's you know.
I saw Costco had a deal for like an 86-inch TV for $1,000, and I just was like, I don't watch TV all.
You guys sound like old ladies, I swear to God.
Hey, this age, you gotta be cool, man. $1,000.
You gotta save some way, you know. Come on, Josh.
I'll add to it. I drove my kids around, did laundry all fucking day.
You know what I was doing last night? I was watching WWE wrestling.
Nice.
Yeah.
It's funny how things,
time.
It's just funny how can you hear me?
Yeah.
It's just funny how like we sit here and we talk about like watching, and there's nothing wrong watching movies with your wife. I literally did dad duty this weekend's been like kind of like house stuff to catch up. Like that's what we're doing this morning. And like I feel like 15 years ago, it was like for me, it was like it was drinking, it was smoking blunts every day. It was like, where are you gonna go? Okay, let's go, and just ended up at random houses. Like I would be up for like 3 days at a time, just going out, and then like one day it was like, did you do the dishes? Did you take trash? And it's like, what the fuck? Like, what happened? You know, and it feels like that.
Life hits you.
Oh yeah, it does that. It'll do that to you. I mean, I feel the same way. I mean, I might be older than you, but I mean, yeah, I definitely feel the same way. So,
like going to bed at 10 and trying to go to bed at 10, so to wake up at 5 is like that. Like it's a good feeling now, you know, rather than going to bed at 5 and waking up at 10 in the morning. You know, the reverse of it. So.
Yeah. My bedtime's like 8:30, 9 o'clock at the most.
I wish.
Yeah. That's way earlier than me. Yeah, definitely. I mean, I'd like to go to bed, you know, around 11 o'clock, but definitely, I feel you need your sleep, and that sometimes I can't sleep past 6 o'clock anyway. So you got that. So, okay, going on to another topic. JC had this great topic that he wanted to talk about. JC, do you want to lead into it, or you want me to lead into it?
Yeah, I'll start it off, but like I was telling you earlier before we started recording, is I had the subject and I had a story to think about, and I'm like, you know what? Today came around, and now I completely forgot what I was going to say. But I guess the topic was like childhood stories, like some things when you were a kid, like funny things that may have happened to you, or like if you have a funny story about a memory that you had as a kid, or something stupid that you did, or just some of the stuff that you were into when you were little, like what kind of shows did you watch? um like with me, I just remember as a kid, like I grew up on WWF wrestling, Saturday mornings watching Mean Gene Okerlund, Hulk Hogan, the Ultimate Warrior, those guys. And my father and I would like play wrestle all the time. And we didn't have a lot of money, so every now and then, whenever a show would come into town, that he took us once or twice, and it was just the coolest thing as a kid, just remembering all that stuff. But yeah, I was kind of one of those kids that I think most the kids in our generation grew up on that stuff. And funny things, as kids with your friends, you start wrestling, horseplay around, kids get hurt, doing
Right.
stuff, jumps off the top rope and stuff. Yeah, just kind of stuff like that. What about you, Josh?
I mean, I kind of had a shitty childhood. I'm not gonna lie. I grew up as like a DYS. Oh yeah, that's Department of Youth Services, like running around. But if I think earlier on from that, uh, like stupid funniest memory, like the biggest thing that's funny that sticks out to me was me and my best friend. We decided. I think we were like 13, and we decided to take a Swiss Army knife and see who could throw it the highest in the sky, and then try to run away
Oh
so
my
you didn't get
God.
stabbed with it.
Oh my god.
That shows you the smarts and the parenting that we had behind us. So we're running around with dodging it. One of the kids in the park was like, "Dude, you guys are fucking morons!" Like, so of course, me trying to be extra, I go to throw it up behind me. The next thing I know is fuck. I turn around, my buddy just like pouring blood out of his chin, like freaking out wide as it goes. And remember, we're 13, so we think she's gonna die, and takes off running. The hospital's like 10 minutes up the street, so we get to the hospital, and I'm like, I don't want to go to jail. I don't want to go to jail. I don't want to go to jail. Like, please, 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 please. I'm like, say something happened. So we get in there. The nurse goes, "What happened?" I'm like, fuck, I'm going to jail. Fuck. And she goes, "What happened?" I go, "I tackled him playing football." She goes, "You tackled him playing football? That's the cleanest cut I've ever seen from football in my life." So immediately I get up and I run out of the hospital and run all the way home, shut my door. My mother goes, "What have you been doing?" I'm like, nothing. So in my head, I'm thinking the hospital already called the police, the D14 police department, Boston police department, like showing up to take me to jail. And like literally for 2 days, my buddy's like, "The fuck you talking about?" He goes, "I got glue stitches and walked out." So to me, that's like the funniest thing from youth. But other than that, yeah, it was kind of crappy. I was always on the run with like AWOL warrants and shit when I was younger. Like I spent probably like the age like 14 to 18 going through the system, bouncing around like foster homes and shit, residential homes and like lockups as a kid. That shit all changed once I became an adult. Like that was the end of it. But that just came from shitty parenting. That's all.
Yeah. Okay. So mine was a little bit different. I mean, I I'm way old. I used to sit every Saturday morning and watch GI Joe and Transformers in the morning and Thundercats, and I was more of a kid that played with GI Joe. I had every GI Joe guy, every piece of equipment, everything. Um, the funniest one I can remember way back was playing out at my parents' house, my dad's house, and me and my buddies were playing there. We're playing GI Joes, and I said, "Watch this! I can run up the stairs backwards." And they're like, "No, yeah, yeah, I can watch." I think we were like 8 or 9. I was like, "Yeah, I can run this up. I can run this backwards. There's not a problem." And he's like, one kid's like, "No, you can't do that, dude. There's no way you can run backwards." I'm like, "They do it all the time in these shows." And he's like, "No, that's not true. That's some of them are cartoons, dude." And I said, "No, watch." I ran up backwards. I got up to probably the third step. And I mean, these were not like normal steps like nowadays. These were like 10, 11-inch steps. So really, I got up to the third one and flipped backwards, fell backwards, broke my ankle. And as I fell backwards, I hit backwards, then went forward again. So then I went all the way down to the concrete, broke my ankle in a couple spots. So it was not, I feel the funniest thing, but, it was one of those things that as all our dumb things that we used to do, I used to always, my dad had a house that it had literally, I could walk out onto the roof and like I always wanted to jump into the pool from, 12 foot high. So it was kind of like, was always the dumb things that I always thought of. And, one of the things I did act on was climbing up the stairs backwards, and I don't know why I decided to run up backwards. So, but it was not the funnest part in my life. I broke a couple bones here and there. So that prevented me from going into the military and doing other things that I really didn't think I would be at today. So
you brought up Transformers. So that reminded me of a story. I must have been like 5 or 6 years old, and it's funny, I vividly remember it. So we were at the store, and as a kid, you grabbed the toys from the shelf. So I grabbed an Optimus Prime, remember? And I was asking my mom, can we get it? Can we get it? And she's like, no, put it back. And now I didn't realize I still had it in my hand. And we go to check out, and she pays for her stuff, and we walk out. And then we're walking in the parking lot, and she turns to me, she goes, what's in your hand? And I'm like, I look and I'm like, oh my God, I stole it. Like I didn't intend to, I just kept it in my hand. And she's like, I'm like, oh, cool. Let's go back to the store. She goes, no, we're going home. So I'm like, I just stole this thing. This is the first thing I felt so bad. I thought I was like going to hell, like immediately, as a kid, whatever.
Right.
Like fast forward, like years later, I was like 15, 16 years old. And I was like, hey mom, remember that time that I stole that Optimus Prime? She turns to me, she goes, you didn't steal it. I go, yeah, I did. And it was in the parking lot, and she goes, no, I made you think you stole it. She's like, I paid for it. But all these years had passed by, and she made me live with the fact that I thought that I actually stole this thing. And I felt so guilty that I never did anything like that again as a kid. And that was like an awesome parent lesson mom did, because she freaking made me think that up until I was 15, 16 years old, man. It's crazy.
You made me remember something. So I had to be 8 or younger, and I was out food shopping with my mother, and we had to take 2 buses to get to the grocery store. And when I was in the grocery store, you guys know, I don't know if you guys have them out there, Scott. You put a nickel in to like a donation box, and they have the open candies. So I wanted the caramel delight so bad, like the one with the little white filling in it, the cream filling. And I'm like, I want one so bad, so bad. I go, Mark, can I have one? No, get away from me. So, I'm looking around. I want one so bad. So I'm like, I grabbed a couple. I'm like, sweet. So I'm like, I'm walking around. Again, I'm 8 years old, so it's harmless. I'm making it sound like I had this master pan, but it's harmless. And I probably just went up and took it and forgot. I know I used to ask her, and everything was no. So we get to the bus stop, which is like not even like maybe 200 feet from the store. I pull one out, I wrap it, I unwrap it. Bro, lost her mind. Dragged me back into the store. I asked the page of the store manager, like, this is fucking traumatizing for an 8-year-old. And I'm crying. And the store manager, and this is like a vivid memory, this part. And the store manager comes and he's like, really? like really? Like, you pulled me out of here for this shit? Took the candy, but I remember, dude, like, talk about heart pounding for an 8-year-old. I was petrified. Were any of you guys leash kids? I was a leash kid. And that shows why.
Leash kid.
We didn't have leashes back then. We never had leashes when I was.
Really?
We just ran around the whole park. I mean, my grandma used to live by a big old park, and I used to just take off and go in the park and then come back, by dark. That was my cutoff time. Be home by dark.
Yeah, that was after 12 for me, but this was like before. Like, this is probably like age 6 up. And Jensen, I hear you asking. A leash kid is like a kid that wears a harness, and it's a legit leash. So like, if he tries to run off, like, I was a runner. Like, I used to get lost and have to page my mother in the stores. And like, the funniest thing is I didn't know my mother's name when I was younger. So it was like, will Josh's mom please report to the service desk to pick this fucker up? So like, and that's where it's turning, where it's like, you try to run off and it's like, boom, it's like having a little puppy. You just pull it back. You don't see as much like today as you did like you know, I was born in 85, and you know, early 90s, like that was kind of like that thing. Like there were a lot of these kids. Like every now and then I see it at the mall. I go to my wife, I'm like, ugh, like, God damn.
I
Yeah,
thought you
I
meant like
remember.
latchkey kid that would have like the key around his neck to go home and go home. I was that. Like my
Oh,
parents gave me the key because both my parents worked, and I was a kid. I'd be home alone a lot. My sister and I during our summer vacations. I mean, shit, she was 10 and I was 6, and we would just be home in the mornings eating cereal and then wait for our parents to come home. It's kind of crazy.
no.
Oh yeah, I mean, I get that. I mean, I was the same way with my family. My mom and dad were divorced, so literally I had two places, but it was like my dad was on call from the hospital because he did maintenance. So it was like either I went in with him and, you know, he might be at the hospital and I might be in the hospital for, you know, an extended period of time messing around with stuff, or I sat at home, you know, and that's, you know, my mom worked 8 to 5, and it was like, okay, you're home by yourself after school. You come home by yourself after school. You lock the door, do your chores, do, you know, you
Don't open the door
eat,
for anyone.
snack, you know, do whatever you wanted, but just don't leave the house till she got home, you know. And I'd have friends come over and be like, hey, come on out. My mom's home. You want to come over? Dude, I can't come out, dude. I got to stay right here, dude. Like, come back at 5:30. I can come out after dinner, you know, and then it was like, okay, as soon as mom got home, it was like, okay, go ahead, you go, be back at dark. You know, that was the main thing. You know, we go around, mess around, and do. We did some pretty bad stuff. I would say that. So, but you know, I mean, the funniest one comes to mind is like my grandma used to wash me when I was younger, and I used to lock her out of the house. I used to lock her out of her car, and like I remember when she always used to say it was like 3 to 4 that she had me in a car and she went to go somewhere, and she had it running and left the keys in there. So literally I locked her out of her car, and she's sitting out there like yelling up a storm, like, let me in, let me in. And I wouldn't let her in the car for at least a good hour, she said. So, and then she said the next day, I, you know, went over to my aunt's and locked her both out, her and my aunt, out of the house, and wouldn't let them in the house for at least 2 hours. So, because I didn't want to leave to go somewhere else. So, yeah, I was pretty mean on stuff when I was younger. So,
When I was in second grade, um, you know how like teachers would have you come up and tell the class what you wanted to be when you grew up.
Yeah.
So, like little Jimmy, one of the kids, whatever. I'm just creating names. Would go up there. He's like, you know, I want to be a lawyer, and Susie was like, you know, I want to be a vet. You know, and another guy's like, I want to be a doctor. Well, I get up in front of the class. I'm like, I want to be the garbage man.
Dude, that was cool back in the day, watching the
yeah,
garbage truck pick up the trash. Dude, I was fascinated by that.
Yeah, yeah, and that's the thing because I used to love the fact that they'd hang off the back of the truck and just drive down
Yeah.
the
right.
street. I thought it was the coolest freaking thing in the world. And you know, I'm imagining what the teacher must have thought, like me saying that in front of the class, like, man, this kid's not going to amount to anything. You know, he wants to be a garbage man or something.
Right.
But fast forward to my adult life and my full-time job, I'm working on a street, and there's like this construction site. So they were taking everything up and moving everything up, and the guy had a what do you call it, a backhoe over there, a cat, and we had to go to a different street. So I'm like, he goes, hey, we're gonna be down over on this street. So I'm like, all right, I'll meet you there. He goes, no, hop on. And I'm like, what? He goes, yeah, just hop on the back. And I'm like, this is like my childhood dream coming alive. I'm like,
Right.
this is so amazing. I'm like, I jumped on that thing the whole entire time. He's taking me down the street. I'm like hanging on. I'm just like, I'm looking around. I got the biggest eating smile on my face. I'm waving to people. I'm just like, man, this is freaking awesome. I've been waiting for this since second grade.
Nice. Nice.
Oh.
Wow. So, Josh, you got any good things you want to add in? What kind of topic you got? I feel like you got a topic that you're holding back
All right,
on
all
us.
right. I was talking about this with a buddy, and then brought it up to my wife. So scrolling through like Facebook and Instagram, I see these ads, and I don't know if you guys are familiar with the men's pill Hims and Blue Chew. It pops up a lot, and for anyone that's not familiar with it, it's basically an over the counter Viagra for erectile dysfunction in men. And obviously, they say the process is that you call up and you get an online doctor, and you get these pills, and I guess there's two versions of them. Which, whatever, to each their own. You take those, it's gonna fuck up your Johnson or whatever. But the funny thing is that now a penis pill is I guess researchers and whoever the researchers are, it's being used as an antidepressant. So they're now marketing it as an antidepressant. So you're gonna walk around happy with a heart on, which doesn't make sense to me. So I'm wondering how you guys feel about that. It's like, so we go back to like influencer marketing. So like right now, Blue Chew's making this like excessive role on like influencers and stuff, and you can just tell it's like shitty acting, blah, blah, blah. And it's kind of like, all right, you just threw all your credibility out the door. And then to market it as antidepressant almost seems like a bait and switch and like the integrity there. So like, how would you guys feel with that? Would you rather take a Prozac or a Viagra pill?
What's their Instagram? I'm going to go follow them now.
Blue Chew. Yeah. I'm sure now after talking about it with the algorithm, it's going to pop up on your phone.
Yeah. I mean, it'll pop up all over the place, JC. So
essentially, it's a glorified gas station pill. Like, I don't know about out in Ohio, but out here, like, you can go to a gas station and grab these like these over the counter Viagra's. But this one, I was just shocked. I was honestly shocked. I deal with mental health issues, and I get kind of offended with shit like that, where it's like, all right, it's one thing, cool. You're marketing to guys to like you're marketing to a demographic of like young college guys that want to be like a rock star in the bed, and then older guys that genuinely have problems. But then like you hear this whole thing where like our research department has figured out that like this creates, higher serotonin in your brain, which obviously for reasons you'd be a little happier. But I just don't like the marketing aspect of that. So I just want to hear real quick what you guys thought about this.
I feel like the marketing has gone pretty much just off the wall, really, in the last couple of years. I feel like from when I grew up, like a lot of the stuff you didn't hear about, grandpa would hold it back, and, a lot of certain ads wouldn't be posted as like they do now. And it's like, they just take an ad on anything and just post it. And, to me, I'd rather take something else besides a Blue Chew and have a big heart on and walk around all day like that. But I mean, I get it, but I don't know if I want to go that way to be happy all the time. So I don't know. I mean, that's kind of off the wall for me. So
yeah,
I don't know. What do you think, JC?
Double-edged sword, no pun intended.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, I as far as the marketing goes, I think Josh, I think I definitely see that. And there's other ways to do it, but it's like even other things that they try to sell you on social media nowadays, like a lot of the stuff that they put out there is stuff like old inventions that they're being recycled nowadays. And it's like, it's so cheesy, like the way that they push these. I don't know who buys this stuff sometimes, like on other things. I would never buy anything like that. And it is annoying. But they do definitely capitalize on people's real issues and stuff. And because it's a hot topic that they want to include it into whatever they're trying to push and sell. So, as far as that specific one, man, I don't know. I think it's kind of like one of those glass half full, glass half empty. I don't know. It's one or the other, but I think there's a lot of things in life that we have to be grateful for that makes us happy. And I think
natural bonus.
Yeah, natural bonus. Hey, may make some people happy. I don't know, man.
Well, think about this, right? So if you heard what I said, researchers have figured out, not scientists, not doctors. So I think what they do is they manipulate the verbiage of their marketing. And obviously, so let's put it like this. So I know we're going into like the anatomy of like, male reproductive system here, but like, big conversation, especially guys with stress. So typically guys that are 35 and younger don't usually have the issue of ED, impotence like that. It's usually 35 plus 40, 50, Scott's demographic there. Right. Scott's gonna go on and subscribe. Let me get the automatic every month.
No, after this thing, they'll probably pop up, and I'll be getting samples in the mail left and right. Thanks.
Like my theory is right. So a lot of the stuff with EV with guys on the dirty, which has been coming up more and more, I think, with this new generation, it comes with a mental. There's a big mental aspect from it, and a lot of it when guys can't perform comes with stress, anxiety, anxiety of being intimate with your partner. And I think a lot of it guys go in and of course, like if you're having issues in the bedroom, if you're able to get it up with the pill, you're gonna be a little bit happier. Your confidence goes up. But I think a lot of this, it's just how they manipulated the wording. Like they figured out, like, hey, if a 27-year-old guy is going in the bedroom with his girl and all of a sudden he can't get it up, what's going to happen? You feel like less a man. I don't give a fuck who you are. You feel like less a man because that's who you are. You're able to, get right in there, do your job, get out, feel happy. When you can't do it, you feel like you're shit. Like she's going to look at other guys. She's going to do this. Same thing when like your lawnmower doesn't start and, you see the guy across the street laying out stripes with his brand new mower and you're sitting there still pulling that pull cord. You're in your room still pulling your pull cord, trying to get there, So I think a lot of it comes from a mental aspect with like stress, anxiety, because that happens a lot with kids in that age and it comes down. So I almost think, and the thing is, it's kind of fucked up because like you're basically pushing to these kids like, hey, take these erectile dysfunction pills, where like you're going to end up with some sort of dependency issue in your body where now when you don't take them and they're not available, you're not going to be able to do it. You're going to create anxiety in yourself and then be like, oh fuck, and now feel like a ton of shit. Right. So I think that they do manipulate the wording that they use for the marketing that comes in. So I just thought it was funny that like all of a sudden, like, are they not selling these pills? And they have to say, hey, we'll make you happy without the sex. Take the pill.
Right. I mean, yeah, I feel like certain places mismarket stuff just to try to get it sold. I see a lot of places that, market it, different things just because it actually does something else too. And I think a lot of times the chemical companies and that want to go on what, can make you better, like this pill. It probably makes you happy a lot better than anything. So, I mean, that's what they want to market. So, I mean, I can see that, but I feel like you saying it's definitely mismarketing.
What I hate is even on regular television, prescription medication ads. It's always on the corner says paid actor. Why don't you have someone that really uses that and gives their, if it works for them, hey, this has
worked. You know why? Because a lot of the prescription pills, they pass that they can sell, but they're not FDA approved. So you can't use a legitimate doctor, and no doctor would sign off on a pill that's not FDA approved. The hospitals and the clinics they work for might push them, but a lot of the stuff isn't FDA approved. So like you're talking the ones where it's like, take this pill if you're feeling sadness, depression, blah, blah, anxiety. Pill may cause death, suicidal thoughts, anxiety, blah, blah, blah. Like, you know what I mean? So I think a lot of them, the paid actors, because you can't get legitimate doctors that are going to put their name, out there and risk their reputation.
Yeah. So that comes back onto like those paid actors are influencers. I mean, really,
exactly. Yeah.
I mean, if you really look at it, a lot of these paid actors are influencers. They're influencing, just like these influencers that are pushing Blue Chew. I mean, they're all people that are pushing something that, who knows if they use them? They probably don't, and that's where it comes back to where you have to go with the people that actually use the product and, only promote what they're using and tell you the actual, go through it, actually use it on a constant basis. That's why I come back to feeling.
It's so true because even now, like you buy something on Amazon, most people depend on the fact that people have reviewed it and said that it's good. And we all know that a lot of those reviews are not true.
Yeah.
Back in the day when we used to buy something, we never had reviews. We had to just kind of gamble and see if it's something that worked out for us, And a lot of the tools back in the day that kind of gained the reputation. Remember Craftsman back in the day was awesome.
Yeah.
You go to years and you return it, you get a new one. It was made in America. And then it transitioned Home Depot, I think, or Lowe's sells it now. It's made in China. Like, obviously it wasn't what it was then before, but we've never had that. And life was perfectly fine back in the day when we made purchases. Now when we, there's some people that only buy things on Amazon based on just what the reviews are. And we've kind of grown to depend on that too. But it's like, sometimes I won't look at the reviews because I know half of them are full of shit,
Or look at
Right.
so with Amazon, like I hate to say that like we support Amazon, but it's hard not to support them when you're talking like a 30 or 40% difference in certain things in the household. But like so what I tend to do, like if I buy things for the company or for the house, and my wife too, is we scroll down and we look at the negative reviews and try to like, go consistent with like what might be average and what might be negative. And when you get a negative Nancy that's just bullshit and pissed off because it wasn't what they ordered, they didn't read the description, and what's a legitimate like bad. But I get what you're saying. Yeah, we're so like 5-star, jump right on it, jump right on it and use them. It's the same thing when you're trying to pick out a contractor, lawn care or landscape company. You can buy those views. Are like, dude, it's not hard to like, dude. I've had my friends go on in the beginning and say, oh, dude, write a review for me. Write a review. Let me get on that.
Right.
So like in the past, like that's what worked. That's what I had to do to get up. So get up, Blue Chew.
Get up. Yeah. I really think you're getting it. It's all right, Josh. We don't have to. You don't have to keep going on about it.
Hey, Scott. So next week's episode, you have to find that ad in the theme music and use that to like.
Well, I'll be able to find it. I know some followers that are people that are using it supposedly. So we'll find the ad part that we can throw on there for you. So
I'm telling you, like I know it's gonna fall in your algorithm. Watch the ads and you see how bad they are, and then go and look at the people that are doing the ads. Look at their page and look at the difference with like their demeanor. And it's like, dude, come the fuck on. Like you're getting paid decent coin to push this thing. You've probably never taken it. Like you're probably looking at like, yeah, I'm not putting that in my system. See you later.
Right. Yeah. So what's the weather this week, guys? I think it's gonna be warm up here. What about you guys?
Man, up and down. Like we were like JC, what we like 50s and 60s last week. Like I was out in a t-shirt a couple days ago, freezing last night. What is it right now, Jay? Like 40, like lower 40s or something.
Yeah, it's a little colder.
Yeah, warming up, and then potential for sleet and snow at the end of the week. That's just how it's been like the entire winter.
I'm saying 37 now. It's been up and down. It's crazy.
And it's been a nice 37 though. That's the thing. It's like you go out and you feel like it's like upper 40. So it's crazy up here. Like I actually talked to my foreman, and we're considering maybe starting March 1st. Typically, like we try to start some of the hardscapes like Aprilish to make sure like we're dried out a little bit. There's no snow, but we're at the point where like, we can start some digging and maybe go from there. Small stuff.
Yeah. Start small, work on up to the bigger stuff. Yeah. So you'll be getting the plows off next week. So okay, we got this.
The plows are off. I know. Yeah. You're segueing back to that. This is not sponsored by erectile dysfunction.
Yeah.
Even though Scott's in that demographic now.
Thanks.
You want to take 2 minutes to talk about sponsor.
My plows have been off, to be honest with you. Like, I mean, we use a lot of heavy, like we had to go, my guy had to go out and salt the other night because we had freezing rain, and then the temps drops into the 20s. So we knocked that out. Thank God we actually had something billable to go out with. But plows have been off, to be honest with you. I mean, the only thing we're not taking out is there's 2 Sanders running for me right now. I might take one out. I have one in the back of my truck. I have a small 1.5, and then I have a 4 or 5 yarder in my bigger dump truck. I might take the one out in my truck just so I can start running some material back and forth, like even at the house, putting some stuff on. And I know what's gonna happen as soon as I take it off. I'm like, fucking ice storm. But
right. But I mean, you never know. I mean, I feel like this year is just gonna wash, and you're gonna have those years, and it's not everything's constant. So I mean, you kind of just go with the flow half the time. So
hey, that blue pill stuff, is that like bubblegum?
I don't know. We'll have to find you some and send it to you.
Oh, no.
I mean,
Viagra's a blue pill, so I would assume it's the same thing.
I was gonna say, like, if it was bubblegum, you could call it Big D Chew instead of Big D Chew.
You'll run all the bases.
Yeah.
We'll have to do a review on it.
Yeah.
We're gonna have to do a review on air and see.
Oh my God.
Who can stay happy as much as they can.
Is the show gonna last 4 hours?
All of a sudden, you're gonna see an empty screen. Everybody's running away real quick.
Oh, man.
Empty screen for 4 hours. Please come back when we're done.
People are gonna listen to this and be like, "What the fuck is wrong with these guys?" Like, you go from talking about lawn care to like your private parts.
Right. It's right.
You know what you gotta do? Scott, you got to use a clip of this and put it out like as a teaser on Instagram, like this segment alone, just to get people like make a clip of like the lawn care, and then all of a sudden this, that'd be funny. That would get my attention. That's good marketing right there.
You went off.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Because there's a large demographic out there. Like, oh, what? Let's go talk.
Yeah.
Let's go see what they're talking about.
Yeah, let's see what they're talking about. Especially some of us older guys that are in the business, have been there forever. So yeah, I can see a lot of us coming back to this one.
So is there anything else? Blue Chew, Echo, Red Max, send us some money because we just pushed your products a little bit, all right? So let's get some money going here.
Yeah, we are not sponsored, I don't think any of us are sponsored by any of these companies, but we will try them out if you want to send them to us, and we'll try to review them.
Just don't send the blower and the pill at the same time.
Oh, well, guys, on that note, I want to thank you guys for being on, and we're going to come back next week and have even a better show, hopefully. And Josh is going to look up for some other pill that we're going to take, and we're going to come up with some other products too to talk about. I mean, so far this shows we've talked about the Walt, we've talked about Echo, we've talked about Milwaukee, we've talked about Blue Chew. So we're going to have to come up with some other topics to talk about, but we will definitely have some great topics. And I want to thank you guys for being on, and thank you all for out there listening to us, and continue to listen to us on iHeart, Spotify, Google Podcasts, and watch us on YouTube. It's a lot funnier when you watch us on YouTube, especially the facial expressions on Josh and JC sometimes. So
hey, drop Scott any questions on his podcast page too, and I feel like any questions, drop them.
Any question, we'll take any question. I mean, Josh takes a lot of different questions, especially about commercials, marketing. If you want to market your product, hit him up.
That'd be great if you could get like listeners or followers to do like any question, and then we just fire off like rapid questions, and you got to answer within like 3 seconds.
Yeah, I'm gonna buy Josh a bag of those caramels with the vanilla.
Oh, I love you forever. You know what? I'm trying to actually scale back and lose some weight because I haven't been working, so my winter weight's backing on a little bit.
Yeah, it's all right. It's all right. I mean,
I'll still eat them though.
There's got to be a pill out there for that. We can talk about that next week. Well, thank you guys for being on. Definitely keep listening to us all, and send me a message at Landscaping to the Point or Landscapes by Acme, or hit JC the lawn care guy, or Josh Caravan. He's on there too on Instagram. Hit us up, and I'll see you guys all next week. Thank you guys for being on.